It's getting late. I should get off my phone and go to bed.
You're right. Good on you for recognizing that.
Thank you.
I feel like you're addicted to your phone, you're addicted to social media. This is the hack that takes 2 seconds that saved me so much time. I actually
Turn it off.
This episode discusses media, messaging, and psychological influence. All sources referenced are from publicly available documentaries, research films, and historical examples. This is about understanding patterns, not promoting fear. Before we talk about power, media, or influence, I want you to think about something simple. How many times a day do you check your phone? How many notifications hit your screen? How many headlines do you read without even realizing you're reading them? Most people don't choose what they see first. It's chosen for them. This is called conditioning. Conditioning is simply this. When the same types of messages, emotions, and ideas are repeated often enough, your brain starts treating them as normal, and eventually as truth. Not because you research them, not because you prove them, but because you were exposed to them. This isn't theory, this is psychology. Over 100 years ago, Ivan Pavlov showed that the human brain forms automatic associations. A repeated sound could produce a physical response. Not because it meant anything, but because the brain learned to accept it.
What is that? England used to be the wildest.
That same mechanism never went away. It just moved from laboratories into media, advertising, and technology. Today, it isn't bells and food, it's notifications, headlines, images, outrage, fear, and validation. Your brain notices patterns. That's survival. But when those patterns are emotional headlines and outrage pieces, your attention becomes the currency, not your critical thinking. And the more often something is repeated, the less it feels like influence, and the more it feels like reality. Once you understand that perception can be trained, the real question isn't if conditioning is happening, it's who benefits from it and how it's being used. That's where this actually begins. Most people believe they're choosing between different sources, different channels, different websites, different voices. But what most people never stop to ask is, why do the stories feel the same? Why do the phrases repeat? Why do the narratives line up? That's not coincidence, that's structure.
Ryan Wolf,
our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
but we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Modern media isn't thousands of independent voices. It's a system. Stories move through editors, producers, corporate owners, sponsors, legal departments, and algorithms. Before something reaches you, it has already passed through layers of approval, framing, and selection. And what survives that process is not everything that's happening. It's what fits the narrative structure. The human brain uses repetition as a shortcut for truth. If you hear something once, it's information. If you hear it everywhere, it becomes reality. Media doesn't just tell you what happened. It teaches you what matters. Who is good? Who is bad? What to fear?
Dangerous to our democracy. This is fucking scary. Yeah.
And what to ignore. The story isn't only in what's said, it's in what's repeated.
Push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
The most powerful influence isn't always what you're shown. It's what you're never shown. Every day, thousands of events happen. Only a few become news. Selection is influence. Framing is influence. Silence is influence. When something is never discussed, it doesn't feel hidden. It feels like it doesn't exist. Media doesn't compete for truth. It competes for attention. And attention is driven by emotion. Fear. Anger. Outrage. Identity. Validation. The more emotional a story feels, the more it spreads. The more it spreads, the more it gets repeated. And the more it gets repeated, the more real it becomes. Once you see that narratives are shaped, the next question becomes unavoidable. Who studied this? Who learned how perception works and how to steer it? Because media didn't invent these techniques. They were developed, tested, and refined long before social media ever existed. That's what we're going into next. Up to now, everything we've talked about could sound accidental, but it wasn't. Governments, militaries, and intelligence agencies didn't stumble into influence. They studied it, they funded it, and they documented it. Because controlling territory is one thing. Controlling perception is far more powerful. Psychological operations, or PSYOPs, are openly acknowledged military strategies. Their purpose isn't to inform, it's to influence behavior, morale, compliance, belief, and confusion. These techniques were refined during wartime, then adapted for peacetime communication. Once you understand that, media starts to look very different. One of the most well-documented examples is MK Ultra. This was a real CIA program, later admitted, that studied mind control, behavior modification, and psychological influence. Experiments included sensory deprivation, hypnosis, drugs, and stress conditioning. Much of the documentation was destroyed, but enough survived for congressional hearings to confirm it existed. This isn't theory, it's history. The important point isn't how extreme it went. The point is that institutions openly pursued ways to alter perception and behavior. When programs like MK Ultra ended, the knowledge didn't disappear. It migrated into advertising, marketing, behavioral science, political messaging, and technology. Modern influence doesn't look like experiments in basements. It looks like optimized feeds, targeted messaging, and emotional design. The goal stayed the same. The methods became cleaner.
Express, I wasn't prepared to translate that, as opposed to that little tease.
Oh, that's
that little
right.
mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At.
See, that's what I said.
The most effective control doesn't feel like control. It feels reasonable.
Causing health problems.
But the problem, respectfully, is that your husband is the least qualified Department of Health and Human Services.
When authority, repetition, and emotion align, people don't feel coerced.
But today, I want to talk about something even more important.
They feel informed. This is sometimes called manufactured consent. Not forcing people what to think, but shaping what they consider acceptable to think. Once you accept that influence can be engineered and that it has been studied, funded, and refined, the next question becomes unavoidable. Who controls the systems that shape perception at scale? Because influence doesn't operate in a vacuum. It operates inside structures of power. That's where this gets uncomfortable, and where we're going next. When people hear the word power, they often imagine secret rooms and hidden faces. But real power usually looks boring. It looks like ownership, regulation, access, and incentives. It's not about controlling every thought. It's about controlling the systems that decide which thoughts get amplified. And those systems are very real. In the past, thousands of independent outlets competed for attention. Today, most major media is owned by a small number of corporations. That doesn't require conspiracy. It creates alignment. Shared advertisers, shared legal pressures, shared political access. When incentives align, narratives tend to align. Not because someone gives orders, but because the system rewards certain messages and punishes others. Another uncomfortable reality is the revolving door. People move between government, corporations, media, and regulatory agencies. That's legal. It's public. and it shapes perspective. When the same people rotate through positions of authority, coverage becomes predictable. Not coordinated, but conditioned. The system doesn't need secrets. It runs on incentives. In a modern society, information isn't just communication. It's a commodity. Attention equals revenue. Fear, outrage, and division keep people engaged longer than nuance. So systems optimize for emotion. That doesn't mean every story is false. It means stories that don't provoke emotion are less likely to spread. Truth becomes secondary to engagement. When people use words like cabal, they're often describing a feeling, not a literal group. The feeling that decisions are being made far above them, that narratives feel coordinated, that dissent is discouraged. It's easier to imagine a hidden enemy than to confront a system that rewards conformity. The danger isn't that people ask questions. The danger is when frustration replaces evidence. So we slow down here. Power doesn't require unity. It requires alignment. When institutions benefit from stability, predictability, and compliance, they naturally resist disruption. No secret oath required. Just incentives. So, if influence is real, if systems shape perception, and if power rewards conformity, The real question isn't who controls everything, it's this. How do individuals stay conscious inside the system? That's where we go next. Before I continue, something needs to be clear. Being influenced doesn't mean that you're weak. It means you're human. Every brain on Earth adapts to its environment. That's how we survive. Conditioning isn't a flaw. It's a feature of being alive in a complex world. And like always, the question isn't whether we're influenced, it's whether we're conscious of how. Most modern conditioning happens through attention loops. Something triggers emotion. You react. You're rewarded with more content that confirms the feeling. Over time, your brain associates certain narratives with urgency and importance. Not because they're true, but because they're repeated while your emotions are engaged. That's not manipulation in the movie sense. It's conditioning through design. The strongest conditioning happens when ideas attach to identity. Once a belief becomes part of who you are, questioning it feels like a personal attack. This is why conversations break down. People aren't defending facts, they're defending themselves. And systems know this. Identity-based narratives are harder to dislodge than information-based ones. Breaking conditioning doesn't require fighting anyone. It starts with interruption. Pause before reacting. Ask simple questions. What emotion is this triggering? Who benefits if I stay angry or afraid? Is this informing me or activating me? Awareness weakens conditioning. You don't have to reject everything. You just stop letting emotions think for you. Attention and time is your most valuable resource. Whatever you give it to shapes you. Reclaiming attention and your time doesn't mean disconnecting from reality. It means choosing depth over volume. Longer conversations. Fewer sources. Less noise. Clarity doesn't come from more information. It comes from space to think. One of the most damaging lies is that you're alone in questioning. You're not. Millions of people feel something is off, even if they can't articulate it yet. Awakening isn't loud. It's quiet. It looks like curiosity, humility, and patience. This video isn't about telling you what to think. It's about reminding you that you can. Systems influence, but individuals still choose. And awareness is the first step towards freedom.
Trippy trip.